Welcome to Aussie Lawn Stars.
Welcome to the dungeon.
Thank you. It's not as scary as everyone makes it out to be. It's not dark.
Well, wait till you've been in it for a couple of hours and then we'll see. And if I flick this light off here, then we get...
Yeah, right, that's a bit more scary now. Yeah, that's a bit...
That's good?
All right. I got the glare of the computer now.
I'll switch the lights back on. Don't want to scare you too much.
I know. I'll get you. If you got a blue card, it'll be taken off you after this.
Well, yeah, no, I think I handed that in a while ago.
I've still got mine.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. All right.
So you're wearing your shirt, your company shirt, which means you're probably on the job today, and your name, you go by Tas.
Yeah.
What's your full name?
It is Tas.
Tas is your full name.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, and your last name, sorry?
Chamberlan. So it is that Tas is my full first name.
Cool. Awesome.
A lot of people think it's longer, it's short for something, but no, it isn't.
And I'm guessing you're young enough to be my child.
Yeah, I am currently 16.
I have kids that are a lot older than you.
Yeah.
And my daughter is 14. She's my youngest.
Yeah.
There you go.
My parents are... How old are you?
I'm 46.
Oh, you're younger than my parents.
There you go. Probably not a lot in it, though.
No.
Yeah. So, Tas, you're from Brizzy or Gold Coast?
The Sunshine Coast. So
Sunny
just up
Coast.
past Brisbane. Yeah.
Sunny Coast. And I think I missed actually catching up with you at BJ's event.
Yes, I did see you. I saw your van.
Yep. Yeah.
But most of the time, whenever I looked over, you were just surrounded by people.
It was a busy day. It was just on the go constantly.
Look, I was amazed at how many people were actually there.
And I know I saw you, but I know at the end of the day, I was like, I missed out on catching up with a lot of people, and you were one of the ones I was like, oh, I wish I'd caught up with you there.
Yeah, but it was a great day.
It was.
I can't wait for next year's one.
Yeah, it'll come around quick enough. I think we're sort of getting into the heat of the season at the moment. So once we get out the other end of this season, it'll be starting to think about all the potential events to attend.
Yeah, well, we'll all just go into one room and listen to Luke Smith's podcast equipped version now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great event.
It was. It's probably the first one that our industry has had in Australia that was a real good opportunity for contractors to get together and true good crowd from around Australia.
Yeah, because you had all your, you got your gyms days and all the franchise days, but there's nothing really for us unless it's been like a demo day hosted by your local dealer, really.
Yeah, and I've participated in a couple of demo days, but yeah, it'd be good to see a few more events like BJ's one happening. So.
Yeah, it would be good.
I think the only other ones I've been to that are comparable are like country field days where they have mostly agricultural equipment and a few lawnmowers, or Diesel Dirt and Turf is the other big one that I've been to.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the closest thing we have up my end is the Queensland Garden Expo. That's still a pretty good one to go to, but
yeah,
I've actually never been, but I always hear great things about it.
I'm guessing they do show gardens as well as equipment and bits and pieces.
Yeah, it's kind of like is it the Melbourne Garden Festival? I think the big one down there is. It's just a smaller version of that.
Yep.
But you have your tool brands and stuff that come in too. I know the local dealer to the Nambour Showgrounds, that's where it's held. The local steel dealer there up there, they have a big booth and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that's the closest thing to what we have up here.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So you said you're on the sunny coast.
Yeah.
And I know when I first started my podcast, you reached out to me because you were already starting to do some work. So that's you would have been 14 years old then.
Yeah, would have been about 14 when I first properly started doing lawn mowing. Over the youngest memory I have, or the photo that I found, was of me when I was about 4 at my grandparents' place in Brisbane pushing the lawnmower. That's the youngest or photo that I've seen of me doing it. That's actually, I think that one's actually up on my Instagram page.
Yeah.
I think. Where am I? Yeah, I think that is actually up there. But yeah, I've been mowing for years, just around home and stuff. Yeah, it's on there. But yeah, I've always enjoyed it, getting outside.
Yeah.
I'm 16 now, so I've been doing it for 2 years, juggling it between school, sport.
So when you started doing it at home, before you started doing paid jobs, were you big enough to be able to handle whip snipper and the mower and all that sort of stuff, or you sort of
I could do the lawnmower. I've only really been. I reckon I probably would have been about 12 when I first picked up the whippersnapper and didn't get dragged across the front yard trying to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were using the lawnmower before that.
Yeah, like I've always been able to push the lawnmower. That was the easy bit.
Yeah, okay.
I remember my parents bring it up every Christmas. There was one year where they got me a toy little plastic lawnmower, and I was really upset because it wasn't a real one. Like you couldn't actually use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now I think about that and I'm like, yeah, that wasn't such a big deal now when I get to use the stuff I've got now.
So what initially got you into it? Was it watching stuff on YouTube like some of the other guys? Talked to, I think, the Jessies down in Melbourne. They would.
Yeah,
Jesse Winter.
I first came across Jesse Winter and James. Don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
James Mosquito.
Mosquito. I first came across those guys in about would have been late 2019 when I started watching their videos just before the whole world came crumbling down. I looked at them. Jesse is younger than me, and I looked and I thought to myself, well, if he can do it, why can't I?
Yeah.
And if I'd known what was coming the year after, I would have started probably the year before, because I was still in school at that point. I've online learning, and to be quite honest, those 2 years of my life were probably or the year and a bit were probably a waste of that time.
Schooling.
But yeah, like you get on at 9 a.m. and you're off by 10 or 12, and then you had all that spare time.
Yeah, so you could have been out there earning some dollars.
Yeah, but I'd say 2020 was when it really started to take off. End of 2020. Like I'd done a couple of jobs for a couple of years before that for some friends and stuff, but that's when I started having people reach out and friends starting to share my details.
Yeah,
for work.
Yeah, so you'd had a couple of jobs before that, but then it took off. So when it started taking off, how many jobs do you reckon you got up to then?
Oh,
we're talking 3 years ago there.
3 years ago, it would have only been 4 back in 20. Yeah, let's just say, well, look, we're pretty well in 2024 now. Might as well just call
it. Right at the end of 23. Right. So,
I'd say about 4. I probably started off with.
Yeah. Okay.
And they were just from friends of family and stuff, and then I've slowly been building that up.
So by the time you're out of COVID and you're going back to school face to face, you get much growth in that period?
I reckon I went from about 4 to about 12 in a matter of months.
Yeah, awesome.
And this is, mind you, this is me running it part time, still doing school, still doing sports. So it's literally up until a week or so ago. It still will be a weekend / after school gig.
Yeah.
So it's all mowing. It's nothing during the day really, because I'm sure we'll get to that, like what I'm doing during the day a bit later on now.
Well,
But
let's face it, 12 jobs when you're doing them outside of normal hours is a fair bit of work to do.
yeah, that's easily a full weekend's work for me back in, let's say, 2021 by this point.
Yeah.
With a Honda push mower, a bench shaft whippersnapper, a little Bunnings battery blower.
Yep.
That's all I had.
So it was probably an Ozito or a Ryobi or something.
I've still got that little battery blower. It was a little Ryobi battery blower.
No, nice. Yep.
I only really replaced it, like, I'd be coming up to a year and a bit ago now.
Yeah. Okay.
Served me well though. Did kill a couple of batteries with it, but
blowers are hard on batteries.
yeah, like even now I've got a battery blower. I got a Toro battery blower, and that still chews through the battery.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I found the first battery blower I played with was a Makita, and it was the two 18-volt batteries on the back of it, so it's getting 36 volts through the system. And
it's the dual battery one.
Has about 11 or 12 minutes runtime.
Yeah, it just chews through the batteries like so quickly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But the thing is, if you're doing residential jobs, 12 minutes runtime, it's heaps. It'll get you through a half day.
Yeah, you're literally just on and off all the time, just wherever you need to blow. Unlike with a petrol blower where it's going the whole time because you don't want to have to start it again.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think if you're doing any bigger jobs, any long driveways or car parks, that sort of thing, then 12 minutes gets chewed up really quickly. But when you're just doing a residential job, or, you might do 6 residential jobs in a day or 10 in a day, 2 sets of batteries will get you through.
Yeah, and that's exactly right for when I'm doing, say, if it's overgrown edges or something, or like I got a couple of commercial properties, I'll still get the petrol handheld blower out just for the longevity instead of just chewing through their batteries.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So you got other battery tools you use now besides the blower?
I've got the Toro, the battery blower. I actually won that at BJ's event.
Mm.
I had a pretty good day down there. I've also got a little Milwaukee hand like chainsaw, so it's got a little chain on it. We've got that at BJ's
I know which
event
one you
too.
mean. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Then I run the Stihl hedge trimmer. I can't remember the model number, with the AP300S battery.
So it's probably going to be a HSA86 or something like that.
I think it is that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Great little machine. Wish I got it earlier. Like, I did a full day's.
Battery on the hedge trimmers is just, it's almost a have to do that with a hedge trimmer, because the petrol hedge trimmer, I mean, I know there's a couple of people around. I'm trying to interview one guy at the moment who still uses petrol for his hedge trimmers, but when you can go to a battery hedge trimmer and you realise that they do the job as well or better than a petrol hedge trimmer, you don't have the noise, you don't have the heat, don't have the vibrations, you're usually less weight.
Yeah. Like I've still got my combi unit, my petrol combi unit with the hedge trimmer, so I've still got that attachment for it. Just if I'm chopping something that's thicker, or that I just don't want to, like, if it's thicker branches that will possibly like dent or bend the blades, I'll use the combi unit instead. I don't really mind how that combi hedge trimmer, what happens to it. I just want my battery one nice and sharp.
Yep,
just for on the regular stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all need one of those that doesn't matter how blunt the blades are, it's just there for hacking.
Yeah.
Get the chainsaw out, but sometimes you just want a hedge trimmer that you go, okay, I I don't mind. I can cut through all the thin stuff easily, but I might bump into something that's a little bit thicker and got that bash about hedge trimmer for doing it.
Yeah, and it'll still hopefully get through it without having to get the saw out.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you running around 16 years of age.
Yep.
Are you able to do all of those jobs without driving anywhere, or do you get your mum or dad to drive you?
No. I'm currently got my learners. In Queensland, you can get your learners at 16, license at 17.
Yeah.
So I currently have my dad, who's the first employee of my business that works with me almost every weekend.
Yeah. Nice.
I pay him. It started off, he would drop me off at the jobs, then he'd go home, and then I'd call him whenever I needed to be picked up. But in the end, he just realised by the time he was to get home, start doing something, I'd be on the phone ringing him up, telling him I'm done, to come pick me up again and move to the next one. So he just started working with me on the weekends. Nice. We started getting through the jobs quicker.
Yeah. So he helps you. You pay him
Yep.
I'm guessing you pay him really well.
Look, it's more than, I'm sure more people will be paying more. He gets about 25 to $30 an hour.
Yeah, there's few people that'll be on similar money there. It's not uncommon to put people in those sort of dollars for this type of work.
Well, like on my wage that I get at my soon-to-be full-time job, I get nowhere near that much money per hour.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah,
we want to cover that in detail soon. I want to just keep talking about your business for a little bit further before we go into what you're doing there.
Yep.
Yeah. So if your dad's driving you around, or you're driving your dad around,
yeah.
You have a trailer, or you work. What sort of vehicle are you driving?
I've got a Toyota Workmate. It's a 2-door, so with the nice long tray in the back.
Nice.
It really depends on the day. If we're going into like the areas where they put one house on a 100 square meter block with a tiny backyard, tiny front yard, and the streets, you can really park one car on one side and barely fit a car driving down the other side. We just take the trailer. Just take the ute with the push mower and the whippersnippers in it.
Yeah, okay. So no trailer when you're on those tight properties?
No, but whenever we get outside of those areas on the bigger properties, we'll take the trailer with me, or if I'm taking green waste, I'll hook the trailer up with the stand on in the back and just whip around and do those jobs.
Yep. Okay, so at this point in time, where you've been doing it for 3 to 4 years, you've got a stand-on mower?
Yeah, so
Which one is it?
It's a Skag 36-inch V-Ride. So
yeah, nice.
I reckon we picked that up it was just before end of financial year.
Have you had any ride-on mowers before the stand-on?
No, so it was just I had used a couple of friends' ones just to see, just to try and figure out what I wanted to get.
Yeah.
I used one of the Hustler 0 turns, but in the end, I decided to go with the Skag. Because That's
a big move. It's a great move.
Yeah, I still don't regret it yet.
I don't think you will regret it necessarily, but depends on what direction your business goes, really, doesn't it? You see a few people that buy a stand-on and then they go, that's not the right direction for my business. And there's certainly an element for some people of getting on the trend because everyone else has got a stander.
Yeah, definitely. I reckon that is a big issue, because then you have the people that will start saying, why do people buy these machines? They're no good. But it's user specific. Like if you've got the work, you might as well get a ride on or something like that. It's going to make it easier. If you don't have the work, you don't get the machine until you do.
Do you want business coaching? Well, next week I'm going to be talking to Dan, and he is available at The Mowing Mentor on Instagram. Of course, you can always contact me through Instagram and Facebook Messenger, or Aussie Lawn Stars at iCloud.com. But Prez Madley, well, he has a different approach, and he is available at Think Tank Coaching at Outlook.com. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people jump on various different trends that they end up regretting. But yeah, if you're buying the right tool for your business, no regrets.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like I can get it up on the Sunshine Coast. Most of our areas aren't in like the really tiny, like fit as many houses as you can into the area. When we've got gates, most backyards I can fit the 36-inch through.
Yeah.
And I can do the backyards. Front yards are easy because most of them are flat, open areas.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a great machine. It cuts time on most of my jobs. I will get it out on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. So you've got that in the trailer when you're towing the trailer. When you don't tow the trailer, you're running the push mower and the whip snipper and the blower in the back of the ute.
Yeah.
Have you looked at running a battery-powered push self-propelled mower, or are you sticking with petrol in that?
It's more a case of I get the machines. I actually get the push self-propelled mower I'm using at the moment from a contractor that turns them over every year.
Yeah, nice.
So I get them for a good rate.
That's good.
If you look after the Hondas, they will last forever.
Yeah, you can't knock them. I know there's plenty of people whinge about the Honda gearboxes or various different things about them, but at the end of the day, they are the first contractor's choice for a reason.
Yeah, and so I've got one of them at the moment, and then I've got a Bush Ranger self-propelled mower with the Honda engine on it.
Yeah, okay. So they're very similar in terms of weight. I think the Bush Ranger might even be a little bit heavier.
Yeah, I find that. I prefer that. Normally stays on the mailbox on the front of the trailer.
Okay, yeah.
That'll only come off when we're towing the trailer.
Yep.
Yeah, and I actually find the Honda catches better than the Bush Ranger does, and the Bush Ranger mulches better than the Honda will.
Yeah, okay. I think there's a couple of different models of Hondas that some of them catch better, or some catch better, some mulch better. Yeah.
Yeah. But on the Sunshine Coast, our council was lucky, or they were nice enough to implement a program where everyone has a green waste bin. So whenever I'm using the Honda or the Bush Ranger on a small residential block, I just catch it no matter what.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I can use their bin. It's not taking away green waste.
Yeah.
So that it's great. The only time it'll be mulched is if it's dry, like we've had a dry spell at the moment. That's the only time I've been started mulching.
Yep.
Just to get whatever moisture we have back in the ground.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep.
I know down here we've got green waste bins everywhere where I work. We've got green waste bins, but I still mulch rather than catch. And I think one of the bigger differences that I see in the different areas where people work is if you're doing couch lawns, and I think for you probably got Queensland blue and then green couch.
Oh yeah, we've got a lot of buffalo up here.
Yeah.
Let's add buffalo, couch. Honestly, to be quite honest, it's whatever is the cheapest when the builders or landscapers come in after the builders have been in. Whatever's left in the budget gets put down.
Yeah, okay. And what I find, if you're doing couch, then it's really hard to do a good job mulching. But if you're doing buffalo, then it's really easy to mulch well.
Yeah, like I mulch our house. I just mulch it most of the time. Yeah. Only place I don't mulch is the backyard, but that's only because the dog's out there.
Yeah.
But you can barely even notice if it gets cut regularly enough. You can't notice the difference between mulching and catching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's key is how often you mow. So I did a post on LMCA or shared, I think, in response to somebody else's post recently talking about that issue and going, okay, if you're cutting with a robot mower, then it's cutting every day and you're taking a tiniest little bit off the top of the blade. Whereas if you're doing fortnightly cuts, chances are after a fortnight of mowing, it doesn't matter what type of grass you're cutting, you're going to be cutting more like 2/3 of the blade off rather than the 1/3 rule.
Yeah, exactly right.
And
Especially up here, 2 weeks. If it's rained 2 weeks, you could have 30 centimeters of growth in some places.
Yep. So yeah, in that instance, if you're mulching, it's going to look pretty ugly.
Yeah, but it just depends if the client wants to pay the cheaper option, they can get the cheaper option.
Yeah.
Or if they want to pay the little bit more it's going to cost to just catch it, just to get rid of that, not have the big clumps of dead grass sitting on the lawn. It's up to them, really.
Yeah, and in that instance, I'm going to be encouraging them to do weekly cuts instead of fortnightly cuts to make it easier on everybody and look better all the time.
Yeah. I do have one or two clients that like weekly cuts.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
Their lawns look great all year round because I always catch them.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the bigger blocks I do that I don't take the skag on. Me and my dad both get out with the self-propelled mowers and mow it.
Yeah, okay. And it comes up looking nice.
Yeah, I actually put a post on, did a story a couple of months ago and tagged some of the lawn care companies in America saying, I think I've got a bit of striping action here, because you could actually see the way there was a bit of dew on it still.
Yeah.
And just mowing up and down, you could see the stripes, like the lines starting to form in the lawn.
Yeah. Do you know what sort of grass is on that?
I think that is couch predominantly. And then I think the front yard is more buffalo, or more of a mixture.
Couch is good for striping.
Yeah.
And if you got a cylinder mow, you can cylinder mow couch really low and still get a really good stripe.
Yeah. That would be the next. That would be the next thing to just amp up that property even more. Would be to cylinder mower.
Yeah. So what whippersnipper are you using currently?
I currently have. I know you've used them a long time before you went battery. The FS94.
Yep,
I've
still got them.
One of them. Then I've got the KM94 too.
Yeah, okay.
So they're both set up as whippersnippers predominantly at the time, and then if we got edges that need to be done that are a bit longer, I'll get the combi blade edger out.
Yeah, I love the FS94Rs, but they get a bit cranky when it's really hot.
Yeah, like at the moment, I'm finding whenever I use it, then turn it off. Say I've done the front yard, leave it for say 15 minutes while I mow, then go to get started again in the backyard. I've actually have to pop the fuel cap to release the pressure to then start it again.
Yeah. I've heard a couple of different scenarios there where people can make it easier to start. So replacing your air filter helps because your air filter gets blocked up and then it blocks the return line to the fuel tank, which is why you pop your fuel cap to let the pressure off and then it goes again.
Yeah, I probably should replace the air filter on that. Probably
but the other thing I've heard, if you take that line off the back of your air filter, because it goes back, it joins to your air filter box. You take it off there and you put its own little filter on the end of the line so that it doesn't draw dust and rubbish into your fuel tank, and then see how it goes. And I've been told that works really well.
I might have to try that out then.
You just got to find a line filter that you can pop on the end of that's for filtering air.
Yeah.
And then give it a crack.
Yeah, that might be a good idea with this warmer weather at the moment.
But then anything to keep that machine running sweet, because they're a very nice machine when they're running sweet.
Yeah, but that's the thing at the moment. I have that issue with the dedicated unit, but then whenever I get the combi out, the combi unit doesn't have that issue.
Wow, that's interesting.
So, yeah, and the combi unit's actually older than the dedicated one. So
yeah, okay. Wow.
Same engine, same setup, but
Yep.
just different somehow.
Yeah. Might
Yeah.
be because it doesn't get used as much. The air filter's cleaner.
Yeah, there's probably a chance there.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we've covered most of the equipment you're using at the moment.
Yeah, I think we
And
have.
you're basically doing it on weekends. Do you do it in the afternoons still, or is it just weekends now?
I've done one job this afternoon. I do fit in some jobs on the Friday afternoon, and then it's predominantly weekends at the moment.
Okay. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
so we
And
can.
I want to touch on the financial side just a little bit, but I know you're 16 years of age and running a business at your age, you're going to have different goals to somebody who's living off it.
Yeah.
So obviously you're doing all right to be able to pay your dad to work with you, and you've been able to buy the Skag.
Yeah.
But share as much or as little as you want to in terms of the financial side of things. Are you pretty happy with the rates that you're charging?
Look, to be quite honest, I would like them to be a bit higher, but I just don't think we have the financial, like the people that I service, they don't have the money to be able to pay any more than what I've charged them.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
I know some of them can.
Yeah.
Those ones will have been bumped up, but I know some of them can't, and some of them do already struggle as it is.
Yeah, okay.
But on my side of the financial situation, I do well enough off lawn mowing that look, if the lawn mowing was to completely dry up, I could still survive off my other job, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's look, it's nowhere near say what you would be doing in a year. Like I think since July this year, we've done about $12,000. That's just running. That's in after everything's been taken out, so
But
wages, tax, etc.
this is why I talk to people about doing different amounts to calculate how well you're doing, because if you're doing it full time, it's completely different to if you're doing it on the weekends. You can't compare the same thing. So if you look
Yeah,
at the difference between what you charge per hour, how much you make in a day, and then for you, it's different when you start talking monthly and annual turnovers compared to me. But the day rates or the hourly rates are things that we can compare fairly easily.
yeah, because that's going to be similar
Yeah.
to what someone that would be working full time would be charging.
Well, even if we're not similar in those amounts, it's a comparable item because you're both talking about the labour rate plus the cost of replacing tools and other costs of doing the job. So all your
Yeah,
overheads. So those
yeah,
sort of rates are going to be something that's comparable. Whereas if you talk about how much you make in a week, well, you're not doing the same amount of hours, so that's not
yeah,
comparable.
yeah. No, that's completely right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it sounds like you're doing pretty well. You obviously, if you were to stop doing everything else and go into doing lawns full time, you'd want to pay more attention to making sure that's exactly where you want it, or chasing
yeah,
customers that you know are going to provide the income you need.
yeah. Definitely, that's exactly right.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. So you're 16 years of age. I know I keep saying this, but we're just using this as a marker to talk about different things. I would assume you're still in school, but you're talking about having another job.
Um, yeah. So as of last Tuesday, I'm no longer in school. I've just finished up year 11 with my senior certificate, which
Yeah,
means that I've got I don't know what it is down in New South Wales, but up here it's a Queensland Certificate of Education.
yeah,
That allows me down the road, if I wanted to, I can go to university for something without having to do a bridging course to be able to say bring up my knowledge
Your
level.
education. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
back when I was in school, I think we had two different certificate levels. You had your higher school certificate, which was leaving year 10 to do a trade, and then your HSC, which was finishing year 12.
Yeah. So now the finishing year 12 is called an ATAR.
Yep.
Which they changed over a couple of years ago. Still can't tell what the difference is, but
yeah, they've had ATAR in New South Wales for quite a while, but I think they were trying to make it a countrywide
nation.
system.
Yeah. So yeah, as of Tuesday last week, I finished school.
Yeah.
And I'm now going into my other. I guess it's the same type of passion,
Yeah.
except I'm not working for myself. I'm working for someone else.
Yeah. Now, can you talk about that on the podcast?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So, since the start of this,
you go ahead. Go ahead. I was going to say, who is it? Where is it? What is it?
So I've started an apprenticeship. It started off as a school-based one earlier this year, which means you just go 1 day a week to that instead of school.
Yep.
But I'm starting a full-time greenskeeping apprenticeship at Pelican Waters Golf Course. That's a golf course on the Sunshine Coast. We do everything there. Everything's done in-house.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I actually do get a lot of time on cylinder mowers and reel mowers now because that's what we use at the golf course.
Of course.
It's only just reopened after being closed for a couple of years because of a big remodel done by the people that own the property that we had BJ's event on. So Palm Lakes, they own it. So they're now putting in like an over 50s living village in there. So they did a bunch of like remodeling work, removing greens, replacing greens, and we've just finally reopened to the public after being closed for about a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've been working there on that while they've been finishing it then?
Yeah, so when I came in, which was I think it was about February this year, we were most of the major work had been done. Everything was just growing in. They were finishing building the clubhouse, which is an enormous building. They were just finishing off the final touches. I say final touches, even though it's still a construction site, because they still haven't finished the driving range and a bunch of stuff, but that's most places.
Yeah.
And then it was meant to open July, I think. It got pushed back to August because they installed like a mini golf area, and that wasn't finished. So they wanted that to be finished for the opening.
Yep.
So we officially opened 2nd of July. I mean 2nd of August, sorry. Back to the public.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm guessing you said it's all in-house, so that means you've got a superintendent. How many staff are on the grounds there?
We've got a superintendent, we've got an assistant superintendent, then so you've got those two. We've got a full-time mechanic there, so that's 3, and then there's about 7 of us that do like the everyday jobs.
Yeah.
I think there's only 3 that are actually qualified greenskeepers.
Yeah.
Then
so does that mean there's another apprentice?
There is another apprentice. We're both in our first year. We started at a similar time. So there's me and another apprentice, which are going to become qualified, and then we have a couple of people that are just employed as maintenance, like ground staff, plus a couple of casuals that come in whenever we need extras.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So given that you've got, what did you say, there was 7 in total,
7 in total plus the mechanic and then the 2 higher ups.
Okay, yep. Yeah, okay. So given that there's a bit of hierarchy there,
yeah,
does that mean you're getting sent out to get the sky hook or any of those other apprentice jokes they throw at you?
Oh, everyone gets it, no matter what you are. If you're an apprentice, you get it. Even the superintendent still gets it. But the apprentices do get the poorer jobs on the poorer end of the scale, the non-liked jobs by others.
Yeah, fair enough. And I mean, that's part of the job, right? Is that you're starting at the bottom and you got to learn everything as you go. But hopefully you do plenty of learning and not just picking up garbage.
Well, yeah, if you want to beat this out, we are the shit kickers.
Yeah, all good.
So, but that's everyone starts off there when they start at a job.
Yeah.
But even in the months I've been there, I've started to work my way up. Like I'm now, like machines are classed as like how long you've been there. So like you start off on the thing that rakes the bunkers, then you go to carts, then you go to mowers that mow tees, then to mowers that mow surrounds, fairways, greens, rolling the greens, all the way up to changing the pins, doing the spraying, all those sorts of jobs.
So those last jobs you mentioned, going up to doing those is sort of at the end of the apprenticeship or once you're fully qualified.
Yeah, or whenever they get round to training you up on a machine.
Okay, yeah. So they'll start you on the lower ones and then work your way up. I picked up the Wright Standard I 42-inch demo machine. It backed into my black van and looked rather cosy in there. Once using it, I found it nice and nimble and really easy to manoeuvre. Being small, agile and light means that moving your body weight around really gives you increased traction on the drive wheels and turning ability in tight spots. The Aero Core deck delivers a great cut, and I'm about to test it with the Catch Pro.
Yeah, so currently I am most of the time, or not most of the time, but I mow tees whenever they need to be mowed.
Yeah.
And then I rake bunkers, all that sort of stuff when it needs to be done.
So what do you use to mow tees?
We use, I'll bring up a photo. Let me just see. All of our mowers at the golf course are Toro.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Yeah, we we run we predominantly run your 3 gang mowers. So like we run the Greensmaster Triflex for all of our tees mowers. Nope, sorry, that is the greens mowers.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
But we do run the Greensmasters with lower quality heads, or just we run the Greensmaster 3250D or similar to that for cutting tees and then collars around the greens.
Yep.
So that's what we use. So it's all cylinder mode.
Yeah.
Then we obviously have your other, and then we have, like, for doing bunkers, it's just like what you'd see people riding in America, like a 3-wheeled trike kind of thing.
Yeah.
With a rake on the front, on the back, and a plow on the front.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you go all the way up to your greens mowers. You've got your like rough cutters, which is one of ours. Is just an out front mower.
Yep.
Then we've got like one that's got lots of individual heads on it. Then you go to your fairway mowers, which we've got one like that has 7 reels on it. Yeah. And then 2 that have got 5, and then you go to your things that mow everything else, which we've got three of them that have got 3 heads on them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So
So you'll work your way through all those different mowers over time, but at the moment you're doing predominantly tees.
Yeah, tees and
Yeah.
collars, which is used to use the same mower.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, I love it there. It's really nice.
Yeah. So you've only just started doing that instead of school,
Yeah,
which means you'll be there. Are you there 5 days a week or more?
it is 5 days a week, so Monday to Friday from 6:30 a.m. till 3 p.m. And
Yeah.
then that's a lie, actually. On Wednesdays is a short day. You finish at 1. And then
Yep.
we have a rotating roster for every third Saturday you will work. And so you don't work the Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's still a 5-day work week, except you don't work Wednesday, you work Saturday.
Yeah. Okay.
Then currently, since the reopening, the course isn't open on a Sunday or a Monday.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So on the Saturday, that's obviously going to be pretty busy on the course. So what sort of work do you do when there's a lot of people there?
Well, Saturdays are predominantly one of the busiest days because we have our competition.
Yep.
We only have four to five staff on, so you have one person that'll be mowing greens, one person that'll be on course setup, so they just make sure there's no debris on your tees and stuff. Did I say mowing greens or tees?
I think you said mowing greens at the start, but yeah.
Yeah, so mowing greens on a Saturday, one person's changing the pins and blowing off any debris. Then you have two of us that'll be raking all the bunkers.
Yep.
And then that's all that can be done on a Saturday, because once you run through the course, none of the grass can be cut or changed that is in the playing area.
Because it's competition.
Yeah, and it's classed as a disadvantage to some or an advantage to others.
Yep. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've never played golf in my life, but I can at least follow that much.
I don't play golf, but I work at a golf course.
Yep. Fair enough. Yeah. You're passionate about grass, not balls.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though you do
Very
come
good.
across a lot of golf balls.
I bet you do. Do you have that as a job, like running around with a golf ball collector?
Currently not at the moment, because our driving range isn't open, and I don't think we will. I think there'll be another person that'll be employed full time to do that.
Yeah.
But we do have that sort of stuff.
It's not really a job that you need a greenskeeper for either. You can have a handyman, a casual come in to do that.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. We have someone that looks after all the grounds that surround the clubhouse as well. So he just stays doing that.
Yep.
So yeah.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Awesome. So is that a 4-year apprenticeship?
It's a 3-year apprenticeship. Mine will be 3.5 though, because I started off doing school based, which means you only do. So each year you'll have 3 blocks where you go into TAFE to do learning.
Yeah.
They last 2 weeks each. So for a school-based one, so if you split that in half, I've done half of the first year work.
Yep.
So then it will be another 2 years doing to your third year of TAFE, but then you've got to make up the other half of your first year because you've obviously missed that previously.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, fair enough. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And you're planning on keeping your business running while you're doing it right the way through, by the sounds of it?
Yeah, so I'm at a small enough point now with I service about 20 to 30 regulars.
Yeah.
Some of them fluctuate just depending on whether or not they fit. The person that looks after the lawn feels like mowing it, or whether they want to pay someone else to do it. That changes from week to week or fortnight to fortnight. Majority of the time, it's about 20, 25 that I'm servicing.
Yeah.
So that's enough. I can do them on a weekend, which allows me to then obviously go to the golf course full time during the week.
Nice.
Plus a couple of commercial properties which I look after.
Yeah, okay. So how did you pick up commercial properties? 'Cause that's a question that we get come up all the time in LMCA and Professional Contractors Group, and people message me asking me that one. How do you get commercial contracts? How do you find commercial jobs?
Look, for a 16 or 15-year-old at the time when I first picked up my first one, don't tell them that your age, because they never know. They'll never know.
Yeah.
I actually managed to pick up my first one just by emailing the local body corporate company that looks after them, just introducing myself, saying I've got room.
Yeah.
If you need someone to come do anything, let me know. And I got 2 people from that body corporate company reply almost instantly, sending me addresses to go quote.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So one of them's just like a little factory area, which I'm there every 2 weeks in summer, 3 weeks in winter, just blowing all the common areas, making sure there's no weeds in the garden, mowing the lawn, just removing any litter or garbage that's floating around.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So that's literally how I got into doing commercial properties. I just happened to think one day, why don't I just email the company? The company responded almost immediately, sending me through places to go quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
That's good.
I've had some people that are on the committee contact me through my Facebook because I post ads on like my local like community groups.
Yeah.
I've had people come through saying they're on the committee and just asking for quotes for properties.
Yep.
So yeah, that's literally the easiest way I've found to go do it. I'm pretty sure that's a lot of the way a lot of people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it depends on the size of the commercial property and how it's managed as to how you're going to find the right person to contact.
Well, yeah, for this, the one I do, I literally give them a schedule of all of my rates and stuff, and
Yeah.
then so they know that they have a maximum that I'll be charging, and then it'll fluctuate between, say, if it was just me rocking up to blow the car park, make sure there was no weeds in the garden, and then leaving, it's maybe different to what it would be if I was doing all the things that I would have quoted for.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, look, we've covered most of the things I want to ask you about, and it's still under 1 hour at the moment. But
I know.
the things I like to finish up with on an interview is looking at what your plans are for the future. And I think we can already establish your main goal at the moment is going to be to do the apprenticeship, get that completed. But
Yeah.
you're thinking that you want to stay working at the golf course once you complete the apprenticeship and keep that current?
To be honest, I haven't actually thought that far ahead yet.
Yeah, fair.
But I'm still going to keep my business running on the side.
Yep.
I think my dad wants me to because that is his retirement plan, to come work for me, go mow some lawns. It allows him to surf in the morning.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to do. Whether or not I continue to build it up on my business up on the side, and I put on another employee full time that can start to look after, kind of like what BJ's done. He takes a step back, and his employees do most of the work.
Yeah.
And if I get to a point where I can do that, I may stay at the golf course still.
Yeah.
Because the golf course is something I enjoy, but I'm also having a business that's bringing me in money.
Yep.
That allows me to pay other people to do the work, and then for me to be able to do something that I enjoy still. And then if they need me, I can go work with them for a week. And then that just keeps me current, because once I get my apprenticeship completed, it allows me to venture into like putting in quotes for maintaining local sporting facilities and sporting grounds, because you've got all your spray ticket or your irrigation stuff and all that sort of stuff. And the plan would be, if I was to stay at the golf course, is just to keep everything my knowledge current of what's happening in that sort of like the sports turf side of the industry, just to be able to say, go to clients and say, yeah, I know how to do that because I currently work at a golf course or another facility still.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of credit and a sense of status even in this world.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't like to think as lawn mowing as you've got like ranks, but it gives you the ability to like if you're quoting against another person, it gives the person that's going through the quotes the ability to know that you've got the knowledge, know-how, and the experience of doing those things to be able to do it and execute it in a way that will help the property.
Yeah.
Unlike if, say, the person that I'm quoting against doesn't have that experience or knowledge, and they're just going off by what they've heard or read about.
Yeah. And what you're saying is really important there. I can't sort of bring this up often enough in the episodes that we do here. Anybody can start a lawn care business. Anybody can grab 3 tools, chuck them in the back of their Kia or their Hyundai Getz, and off they go.
Yep.
They're running a lawn care business.
Yeah.
But the difference comes to when somebody's looking at those 3 quotes and they're going, do I go with the quote that's the cheapest, and that's probably the guy with the Hyundai Getz and the 3 tools? Or do I go with the middle quote, or do I go with this guy who's qualified as a greenkeeper? This guy who's got a lot more experience, obviously.
And knowledge to be able to do that.
And, you know, everybody's got the right to be there. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to choose that cheap guy.
Yeah.
But they're entitled to do that. We can't fight it. We can try and make sure that it's obvious that, you know, if I'm coming in with a higher quote, that, hey, I've got the skills and the expertise to do that.
Yeah.
But, I think it's really important for people to understand that everybody gets a chance. And it really does come down to how well you present yourself, and if you've got the knowledge, like you say, the skills, the training to back up what you're doing.
Yeah. And that's what will separate you from the rest of the industry. Like, if you can find something that you can get into that's a niche in your area and not many people do it, if the people are willing to pay the money and they want it to be their property to look good or their sporting complex to look good, they're gonna pay them more money for the person that knows what they're doing. Unlike the cheap quote with the guy that, like you said, is running around with 3 tools in a little hatchback.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of it, right? If you're quoting a residential property, everybody's got an equal opportunity there, an equal chance, and they probably will go with the cheapest guy.
Yeah.
But if you're quoting on the sports ground in the middle of Brizzy, chances are they're going to go, oh, we want somebody who's qualified as a horticulturist, greenkeeper, and has, 50 years experience in the industry.
Yeah.
But, that's where you start to separate who's qualified to do the job when you start talking about different requirements and different job sites like that. So,
but like even the machines, say if they want it cut with a cylinder mower or a reel mower, on the east side, not many people know how to do that. Unlike on the west side, where everyone's got one.
Yeah,
and
we don't need to talk about West. We don't need to talk about West Australia. We can talk about golf courses, but leave West Australia.
Yeah, we could just put a big brick wall up, and we'd never hear from them.
I think they want to do it more than we do.
Yeah, didn't their premier say that he was going to do something like that?
Yeah,
you get someone like Donald Trump over, and it'd be done in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, I noticed, I found something, I've shared it on LMCA not too recently, but a while ago. There's been a lot of attempts by West Australia to separate themselves from the rest of Australia to the point of actually labelling themselves as a different country.
Yeah.
So they want it.
Good luck to them. If they can get it done, I'll give it to them.
All I can say is bring it on. We can charge them import duties for sending stuff all the way across the other side there.
Yeah. every company that's based on the east side that has people that buy their stuff on the west side.
The only
Putting their prices right up.
The only downside there would be if you want to buy a Mowmaster, but you're using Toro for your cylinder mowers anyway, so.
Yeah, the Toros that take 18 months to arrive.
Was that the worst case in the middle of COVID, or is that still expected at the moment?
We've been waiting for a new spray rig for 18 months at the golf course.
Yeah.
And they said it'll be early December. They also said 3 months ago it would be whatever 3 months ago was.
Yeah.
October.
Probably August, September, actually.
Yeah, it just keeps on going backwards.
Wow.
So if you ever need anything quickly, you're not going to get it. Unlike other brands, they can get it quickly.
I did hear that Toro went into a supply-demand bubble very quickly in COVID, where they had no supply getting sent to Australia. So the demand was there, but no machines available. And I don't think they've recovered.
A lot of golf courses have actually gone to John Deere or Jacobson is the other one that a lot of companies have gone to. But like to be quite honest, I know Toro doesn't do tractors, but our golf course ordered 2 new tractors a couple of months, like 2 months ago, and they were here mid last month. So that's how quick John Deere is able to get stuff.
That's good, isn't it?
When people have the money. Like we've also got like a Kubota buggy that tows our bigger attachments for like the blower and stuff.
Yeah.
They ordered that 3 or 4 weeks before, and it arrived last week.
Yeah, so John Deere and Kubota are doing fairly decent delivery time frames at the moment.
And the Kubota actually does have a sports turf side. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, okay.
They have their own sports turf side, so they have your real mowers and all that sort of stuff too.
I've never actually looked up Kubota for that. I've always assumed it was Toro or John Deere or, like you say, Jacobson's been on the game.
I know there's a couple of other companies over in America. I think there's a green one. There's a machine that's green. They do them over in America, not John Deere.
Yeah, okay. I'm trying to think who it might be. Can't remember.
I can't remember. Yeah, like there's lots of companies that do the stuff.
Yeah, there's quite a few companies that have made their primary target market golf courses.
Well, like even the Ventrac, they've got attachments for golf courses now.
Yeah.
So, so there's a bunch of other brands here when you just search them up.
Yep.
But yeah, like we wanted to branch out, but I probably shouldn't say this, but we stuck with Toro because the superintendent and the mechanic have been working with Toro their whole career. They know the machines inside out, so they know what. Like it's fair.
Totally fair for them to have a preference, even a bias towards a particular brand. That's easy.
Yeah, and actually, I don't know if you heard about it. Do you do much fertilizing or anything?
No, I do some, but not a lot.
There was actually a fertilizer rep down in New South Wales that got fired because it turns out he was paying like 10 grand into a golf course superintendent's account for that golf course to buy the product from him off a company.
Yeah, that's not quite so ethical, right?
No, and there's always been talk of that sort of stuff happening, but there's never been proven. But
yeah,
I'm sure it does happen.
Sounds like in his case it was proven.
Yes, it wasn't a good day for him, but
yeah. But these things do happen, and
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, I think we've got a pretty good view of what you do and where you're up to. So it's been good talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
I'm pretty impressed with what you've done at the age of 16.
Thank you. A lot of people do say that.
Hey there, just wanted to talk to you about the Ego Select cut. I've been putting it through its paces in the last couple of days. I've been doing commercial work with it, residential work with it, and I've been putting it through some rather tall, thick grass on my own backyard. Well, you may not want to know when I put it through 1 or 2 jobs, but have a look at how many people are using it as their daily mower all day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week even. It's getting a workout, and the people that use it love it. So I know there's a few guys around, kicking around, like Jesse Winter and James Mosquito.
You should
And
hit
of course,
them up for another interview. It's been a while.
I had a bit of a chat with James Mosquito when he was up there for the event, for BJ's event. And I have reached out to Jesse Winter again. I'm probably going to do another interview at some stage.
Yeah. Were you there when James's shirt got ripped off by Will?
Yeah.
His brand new company shirt got absolutely torn to shreds by Will.
Yep.
But yeah. Like
no,
I think it would be good for us because a lot of people can learn from what other people are doing, like younger people.
Yeah, for sure.
No, and I'm sure there is more out there that are younger people that are doing this. We just don't hear about them.
Yeah, there's been a few other young people that I've been trying to chase for interviews. I'd like to try and make sure that I get a good balance of different people from different walks of life, different ages, different genders, whatever, people that bring something unique to the podcast interviews, people who want to do it like you, just doing a few jobs after school or on the weekends, people who want to do it full-time solo or want to run big teams of crews running around doing work. And the more variety that we bring along, the more insight we capture from the industry.
Yeah, I was pretty happy when you managed to get Martin from Mowing and Growing on there. That was a good one.
I would have chased him earlier, but when I first started the podcast, I knew he was in the middle of dropping his social media time right down and just bunkering down and focusing on growing his business. He'd gone from him on his own to occasionally bringing in his son and then getting an employee here and there. And I could see
you look at him now.
He was in that process of building his business up to a decent size. So, yeah, it was really good time to get him now. And I dare say over the next 5 years, he'll probably keep on growing it into more and more teams. So
I could totally see him turning into like a like you have all your big, like I know we have up here that get most of the council contracts, like your Jungle Busters and your LGM and like all those big companies. They really take, and GLG.
Yep.
They all do like your big council contracts and stuff.
Yeah. Well, look, I think there's a real challenge for anybody who's growing from just doing their own thing to putting on one employee to going, okay, I want to have teams of people out there doing the work. It's a massive challenge for a lot of people. I talked to a couple on the weekend about this. They got 11 employees. And for them, it was just a walk in the park. It was just natural for them to grow the business, to put on more and more employees. And for me, it's like, no, that's really hard work. So, yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea. But if you get to the size of 10 or 11 people like them, there's nothing stopping you from keeping on growing and expanding and getting up to 50 employees or more.
Yeah, you're exactly right there. Like you can, if you've got 10 employees, you've passed the point of, being a large business. You're probably one of the biggest like big companies that is being run by like someone that is still willing to talk in the industry and stuff, and it's not a franchise system. Like not many people get to 10 employees.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm looking at that at the moment. I'm going, I want to do a few more interviews with companies that are running 10 to 50 employees or more and
Yeah.
get a bit more insight into those companies that are running a lot of teams, running around servicing an area the size of Western Sydney or whatever it might be.
You should try and track down Dale from Urban Turf. I reckon he'd be a good one.
I've tried. I pinged him every now and then. And Dale, if you're listening, I'm going to keep pinging you. You should answer the phone one day, and I'll press record.
You just try and just tell James. James works for him now, one day a week.
I could do that,
Something
actually.
like that.
I could say, hey, James, tell me when you're with Dale and hand him the phone.
Yeah. Then go off and do some more work.
Yeah, go and do your job.
Yeah, but I know Dale does a lot of work for Super Gardens, which I think they're a big company.
Yeah, so you're subcontracting through them.
Yeah, and like another one up here in northern New South Wales is Green Options. They're a big company too.
Yep. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of companies that fit that mold of working in our industry, running multiple teams, getting up around that 50 to 100 employee mark instead of around the 5 employees up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Taz, look, it's been great talking to you. Appreciate your time. I'm going to go and spend a bit more time with my family, but it's good to catch up with you.
I'm going to go and eat dinner.
Thank you for listening to Aussie Lawn Stars. Please remember to rate and review the show on the Apple Podcasts app or the player you use. Exciting new shows are released every Monday. Make sure you follow or subscribe to hear the next episode.